Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media. I'm so excited that you're here today, and you are in for a treat today. We have Kwame Terra, who is a health revolutionary and the founder of bEHR Health, a company fighting to close the expectancy gap in Black communities, blending his roots as a recording. Let me just pause this. Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media. I am happy that you joined us today. And I am so honored to bring to Just Minding My Business Media Kwame Terra, who is a health revolutionary and the founder of bEHR Health, a company fighting to close the life expectancy gap in Black communities. Blending his roots as a record breaking endurance athlete with a public health and equity lens, Kwame is building the first universal Black electronic health record technology, culture, and community to, designed to put power back in the hands of the people. His mission is simple but radical: to make health liberation the new standard. Wow. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, because I mean, health is so critical, and having those good habits is so important. So tell us what bEHR Health is doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question because every day I'm learning what Bear Health is doing as I'm learning how to solve this problem, right? What makes a startup is that you still are trying to solve a problem and you don't necessarily have the answer, but you go out there and you talk to as many people as you possibly can who are dealing with that problem and then test solutions and ideas to solve it. And some work, some don't. You lean into some, you modify others. And I think that's really what is ultimately going to make Bear Health special. And what makes any startup successful is that you do a better job of talking to more people with the problem that you're trying to solve than anyone else, and you test more solutions against those problems than anyone else. And yeah, the problem that we're trying to solve is that life expectancy gap between Black people and the rest of the population, at least at first. I'm actually not that interested in how we compare to the rest of the population, more interested in what it will take and what it looks like when we reach our full potential as a community. And so that's why our mission is really maximizing Black health, not necessarily just to achieve health equity, right? So that we're on the same level as everyone else. I just want to know what our potential is. And so that's really what we are aiming at. How we do that currently is through a technology platform where we give individuals a health score. So kind of like a credit score, but for your health. And your score changes in real time depending on how you change. So if you go on a run or a walk one day, your score goes up a few points. If you get 2 or 3 hours of sleep one night, your score goes down. And then based on those changes, we make recommendations for how you can improve, as well as connect people with healthcare providers, resources, and experiences to help them elevate their health. What I'm really trying to do with the score and the app is help people draw the connection between their lifestyle habits and their current health risks. Because while I think we know that we're not doing great, we know that we should be exercising more, we know that we should be eating better, I don't think that we're really drawing the connection between our lifestyles and the risk and how significant those risks are. Because it's not just, okay, you might develop type 2 diabetes later. No, you might have a heart attack at 47, and that'll be it. And that's unacceptable, especially because it's something that we know how to prevent. And so, yeah, just kind of not budging on that idea, and not allowing it to be normalized, not allowing disease to be normalized in our community.
Absolutely. I am just loving all of that because, and unfortunately, in the African American communities, the food is just not there, the healthy foods,
Hmm.
and a lot of times people don't have the transportation and things like that to get to the healthy foods.
Hmm.
So with exercise and I mean, that's a whole nother topic about the food. But
Yeah.
the exercise piece is so important because as a Black community, we know, like you mentioned, we know that we have a high risk of diabetes, high blood pressure. It's almost like we just said, I accept.
Hmm. Yeah, I think a part of the problem there is that when you go to the doctor and you're in there because you maybe had a, a scare with hypertension or a scare with type 2 diabetes. And then one of the first things that they tell you is that, it runs in your family.
Mm,
And therefore, like, that's probably part of why, or that's why you developed the condition. And I think that that can be so misleading as something to share with the patient without significant context, because while many of us and most of us are literate, we're not all health literate. And to hear someone say that it's hereditary, to most of us, that means that there's nothing we could have done.
hmm
You see what I'm saying? There's nothing we could have done to prevent this from happening. That's really what hereditary typically means in our minds. But when it comes to something like type 2 diabetes, hypertension, even many cancers, just because your parents had it doesn't mean that you will develop it. You may be predisposed, meaning that it in the right conditions, you are more likely to develop the condition. But if you live a healthy lifestyle for your entire life and you have a predisposition to type 2 diabetes or a predisposition to hypertension, you probably won't develop the condition, even if your parents. Now, if you live the same lifestyle and eat the same foods and don't exercise and all these things, then yeah, you will develop the condition. If you live the standard American way, you will develop it. You will develop these conditions, especially if you're predisposed. But just because it's common doesn't mean it's normal, and it shouldn't be this way. My grandfather's 87 years old, doesn't have a single chronic health condition. He but he also eats really well. He moves his body every single day, and he's been doing that for a significant part of his life. And that that's just what it takes. And what we're trying to do at Bear is really make it to where this is just a part of our culture, not necessarily something extra that you have to do, like habits that you have to develop. No, this is the foundation of our culture is health so that we can maximize our potential.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how the app will work. Uh,
Yeah. So when somebody first learns about Bear Health, they'll download the app and they'll be asked about 15 questions initially to kind of calculate their health score. And so again, their score is going to be a number between 0 and 1,000 that represents your overall health. It'll be based on over 100 different health metrics total in total. Although again, we'll initially just get about 15 data points.
mhm,
And that score will change day to day, week to week, depending on how you change. Again, so if you go on a run or a walk one day, your score will go up a few points. But if you're inactive for a week, you'll start to see knocks on your score. And we have 7 different categories. So it's physical activity, nutrition, mindfulness, sleep, mental well-being, physical health or medical health, which is where you add your blood pressure, cholesterol, glucose, things like that, and self-control or your indulgence score. So, how much food are you consuming? How much, alcohol or caffeine, things like that are you consuming? And all of this goes into your score. And each month we ask users to update their scores. So some of the data points are updated automatically, such as your activity or your sleep and things like that. But other aspects need to be updated manually, like within our app, your nutrition or your mental well-being score, where we're asking people about, how they're feeling overall about their health and their life. And so I think that that's really a comprehensive way of looking at health, but it simplifies all of the complexities of health into a singular score that people can really wrap their minds around. And yeah, that's essentially the experience. And then from there, you find experiences that you can go to, such as run club or walk club meetups or yoga sessions or what else do we do? Different challenges in the app. So steps challenges are a big deal in the app. 64-year-old woman did 1 million steps in the app last month, and she's on track to do it again this month. And that's just like now becoming a part of this culture, a part of this community of people who are on this same journey. And so it makes it a bit easier for you to stick to it.
mhm. I love it. I love it. So how do people get the app?
Yeah, so right now our beta app is live, and you can go to the App Store, download Dacadoo, Dacadoo,
Hmm
and use access code Mind of My Business. And we can go with that for, is that what you,
Just minding my business.
Just minding my business. Yeah, we'll do the access code, just minding my business, and all lowercase, all one word. That'll get you into the app. You'll answer some questions, add your height, weight, things like that. Create your account, and then you'll be in the app, and you'll receive push notifications throughout the day. Different prompts to recommend that you either complete this health score assessment or you join this challenge, and then just participate. And um, again, our goal is to make this part of the culture, not necessarily just to look at this as a tool that can help you with your health. Like I want this to be endemic to the Black community, something that is again just a part of our culture. Everybody knows their health score. And then as we roll out different interventions and different challenges and change infrastructure and roll out different policies, we can see on a monthly basis what the community health trends are looking like so we can know what policies are working, what policies aren't, what interventions are working, which ones aren't. So we continue to invest in that which is working and divest from that which isn't, and have the data to back it up.
Yes, yes, and that's so important. Now, let me just ask you a question. Okay, when people first embrace the idea of a healthier lifestyle, it takes time before it gets into their DNA, so to speak. So, or do you incorporate like accountability partners or recommend that kind of thing until people are able to do it on their own?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in a sense, that's what we're trying to function as. So Bear Health, our brand promise is to be your health partner for life,
Okay.
right? So first you come in and you become aware of your health status through your health score. So now what, right? Again, we have kind of like suggestions for people to do or community challenges for people to join, and that helps, and that's enough for some people. But
Mm-hmm.
we also host in-person events, right, where people can come connect with other people, such as again run club meetups or walk club meetups or yoga sessions, and these really I think are becoming the glue for people to stay accountable on their journey. I always talk when people ask me like, what does it take to be healthy and make it stick for you? Yeah, first and foremost, you do have to have some general desire to be healthy. You have to have some broad general objective of improving your health or wanting to run more, for example. So you have to have that. Like we can't. I mean, we can make people healthy, but it changes the entire environment, but that takes a lot of investment. Um, but if we can leverage someone's objective and their internal motivation, that's going to be useful. So, and I think that most people carry that on some level. Like
Mm-hmm.
people would rather be healthy than not, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that that's a good place to start. And then the second place is you need some sort of time-bound measure of whatever your objective to test your objective, right? So if you were trying to run more, you need to sign up for a 5K in 3 months. Or if you're trying to eat better, or if you're trying to cook healthier, right? You need to maybe plan a dinner for your family or for your community, and you're going to cook plant-based meals for everybody. And so you say you want to do this, and 3 months later, now you're cooking a meal for everybody, right? You need some sort of like test, and then you need a community of people to do it with. Right. I think this is honestly the most important part of it and really the real hack to solving any type of personal growth or personal development challenge that you may have for yourself. If you can just get around other people who are already on that type of time, people who are already on that path or who are already there, right? And then naturally by being around them, you kind of borrow from their energy, you borrow from their perspective, and you almost feel obligated to become that just to be around them. And that's really what we try to do is help people understand their current health status, help them understand the importance of developing this objective, and then get them connected with the community that's already doing it. And that is the solution. That's the product. And then our app is just really there to make sure that we're tracking the changes collectively over time.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things I heard you mention was the community, getting together with the community. Now, let me just ask, do you have people, as a result of using your app, created little communities within their community to help, people move forward with whatever it is they need to address?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know all of the ones that have been created as a result. I'm sure there are some that have been created. I know that there's a run club that I manage here in the city that absolutely has done that.
Hmm.
within our own kind of little area. And yeah, and I think that that's what needs to happen, right? Because the the broad technology that we have with, thousands of users on the platform is one environment and curates and motivates people in one way or another. But I think these tight-knit small groups that people gravitate toward are ultimately will be the glue that and then the focus of the intervention, right? The app again will be a background feature. This is how we connected. The Bear event was how we connected, but then the real solution is in the community and the development of the village, where people support one another. But it's all rooted in health, right? The foundation of it is in health. Because villages develop in a variety of ways through connecting on a variety of things. But typically those things aren't necessarily health promoting, right? They may be social clubs, right? Which, you know, at the foundation of social clubs in a lot of ways is alcohol and food, food that's killing us for the most part.
True.
And in a sense, they got part of it right, which is the social club. It needs to be like we're social people. We love being around one another and we like connecting and no, in fact, we need it. It's not even just something that we like. We absolutely need it. And what we're proving out right now is that there can be something else at the foundation of it all. The same thing happens, right? People connect, people bond, people develop villages, people support each other. But instead of it being rooted in, again, something that's not necessarily health promoting, it's rooted in things that are health promoting because no matter what happens throughout the week within the run club community, everybody's going to be there on Sunday at the run, right? Different things happen throughout the week. People might need their friends for this, that, and the other throughout the week, but we're not going to miss the run because that is the glue. And similar to social clubs, we're not going to miss the Sunday night get together, whatever it is, you know. But again, in the Sunday night get together, we're sitting, drinking, eating, and and maybe talking about the next week. But at the run club, we're running, we're talking, we're doing yoga, we're resetting our mind for the next week ahead. Like which one is better for us,
Yes.
you know? And again, we're just as excited about this as I believe we are about the social clubs and things like that. And again, it's not a knock on them entirely. I just think that we need to change our culture.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I grow a garden, I'm pretty really paying attention to what I put in my body, how I cook.
Hmm.
I grow my own herbs, all of that kind of stuff. And
Hmm.
I don't always get outside to run, but I do have a treadmill that I jump on every day. And
Hmm.
I started with like 10 minutes intervals. Now I'm up to 15-minute
That's good.
intervals.
Yeah.
So,
And
that,
walking is fine too.
yes.
Walking has changed more people's lives in our community than running has.
Yes, yes, because I'm not a runner. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep it real.
That's
But I
fine.
will, I will walk.
Hmm. Yeah, walking is great. People have literally walked down or off their medications in a matter of a
Yes,
month,
yes,
and here at Bear Health, lost 20 pounds, lost 50. You know what I'm saying? It's walking is honestly going to become the kind of like silver bullet solution that
mhm,
we offer as something to integrate into life because again, it's relatively accessible on the whole. Most people can manage to walk, and
yes,
most of us can afford to walk a bit more.
yes, exactly. Because I was so inspired. I saw this lady, I don't know, I was on my way somewhere, and she had a walker. And she was actually walking maybe three or four, maybe, like the city blocks, the squares. She was walking with her walker, and then she would turn around and walk back, and then turn around and walk. And I was like, she's on a walk in a walker, and she understands the importance of moving.
Hmm. Absolutely. And then that just goes to prove that, when people say they don't have time to or they can't do it or whatever, there's really no legitimate again, for the most part, there aren't any legitimate excuses for not doing it. If she's managing to do it, you can do it,
Yes,
you
and you
know?
take time for things you want to do.
Exactly.
We
Exactly.
always find the time for the stuff we want to do.
Exactly. And I think that that's the part of accessibility that we don't talk about enough
Hmm.
as it relates to really any problem, social, environmental, political problem. There are three components when it comes to accessibility in public health. First one is availability, right? And so is what you need even there, right? And for the most part, what we need is there. Again, I know we have food deserts, we have, systemic factors that affect the availability of things, but on the whole, most of us have availability of what we need. And then affordability. Honestly, same thing there again, and this is what I studied in graduate school. For the most part, it's also available. I mean, yeah, it's also affordable, right? Now, the healthiest foods, beans, rice, potatoes, vegetables, these are very cheap foods. They're very cheap, right? You can, as an individual, you can probably live off of $50 a week worth of the healthiest foods in the world. And I'm talking about the healthiest foods based on what the longest lived populations in the world eat, which these are the blue zones where people are living into their 100s on a regular basis. They eat 95 to 100% plant-based diets. And they eat, again, beans, rice, potatoes, mixed veggies, fruits.
Hmm.
These are things that are very affordable. So that notion that you have to, like, it's expensive to eat healthy, it's just not true. Now it depends on what type of healthy you're eating. If you're eating salads out at Chick-fil-A or eating salad, what I'm saying, like, then yeah, that's going to get expensive. Eating out in general is going to get expensive, but the core foods that we should be eating every day, that the healthiest humans in the world eat every day, are very cheap and affordable. And so again, those are two of the components, right? Availability and affordability. And then the third one is desirability, which is really where the challenge lies, in my opinion. Because like you're saying, we make time for the things that we want. We got the money all of a sudden for the things that we want. Because we'll go spend $250 at a club at night, and then act like $10 for a yoga session is too much. It, that's where we have to work, and that is very hard work because
It
you're shifting, yeah, you're shifting priorities, you're shifting values.
is.
To shift someone's value is really hard work. But there are strategies to execute on that, which is kind of some of the things that I've been describing with creating these social circles that are rooted in health.
Yes, yes. And it's so important in our African American community because, we are taking, so many pills. It's unreal. And
Hmm.
we think, like with my doctor, she knows I'm not taking pills
Hmm.
because I know that God put something here for everything.
Hmm.
And she respects that, because I'll be like, no, I don't think so. Or she'll try to give me something. I'll do my due diligence and I'll be like, mm-mm, too many side effects for me.
Hmm.
I'll find another way. So I'm always looking for a more holistic way of dealing with things.
Yeah. Absolutely. And disease is really, really simple when you really break it down. Most diseases, right? So that's again, we're talking about type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, many
Hmm.
cancers. If you break down the word dis-ease, right? It's dis-ease, meaning not balanced, right? Not at ease. And that essentially your body is always aiming for or inclining toward a state of ease or balance, or they call it homeostasis. And usually one of two things cause something to be imbalanced. Either too much of something that you don't need in a system, or not enough of something that you do need in a system. And in our lives here in America in particular, we have way too much food that we don't need in our system, way too many things in our system that we don't need, and not enough of the nutrients that we do need. And when you remove the toxins and add the nutrients, all of a sudden you have health. And your type 2 diabetes is no longer a problem because now your system's not having to work in overdrive to compete or to produce enough insulin to meet the demand of sugar that you're putting in the body because you're not eating as much of the sugar. And so then you no longer have quote unquote type 2 diabetes, or same thing with hypertension. You're removing the excess salt from your diet, right? And you're replacing with the nutrients that you need, and then all of a sudden your system, your blood system doesn't have to work as hard to maintain homeostasis. And that's essentially what the medications do. They artificially create homeostasis in the body, right? By again providing the excess insulin that the body needs to produce in the case of diabetes, or dilating the blood vessels in the case of high blood pressure, hypertension. But it doesn't have to be this way. If you remove the
Okay.
toxin and add the nutrients, on the whole, your body's going to do well. Now, if you're still dealing with problems after doing everything right, then okay, let's go to the doctor. Let's go get the medication, because medication does have its place.
Yes,
And
it
and
does.
and one thing that I am particularly concerned about oftentimes is that folks want to get holistic as soon as they get the condition. They
Yeah.
go, now I don't want, no, I don't want to take the medication. I'm a holistic type person. Well, what were you doing before what were you eating before?
Yeah.
Like and so I think both are necessary. And I used to work in a heart clinic where they'd prescribe medication and they would prescribe plant-based diets together.
Hmm.
And in a matter of weeks, people would come down or off their medications just from honoring the diet. But don't get all holistic once you've already developed the condition and put your life at risk by not, taking the medication. If you now do not plan to take that medication for the rest of your life, plan to change your life. But
Yes.
don't let the doctor convince you that you're going to be on this medication for the rest of your life, the rest of your life, because they are going to be probably under the impression that you're not going to change your lifestyle. That's just, I mean, the data supports that you won't, but
Yeah.
you're going to be different. But yeah, just don't dismiss medicine all of a sudden. Um, if you haven't been that holistic person before, I'm suggesting that you do become holistic, but don't put yourself at risk, especially with things like cancer. You know,
Yeah.
I
Sometimes you
think
need medicine.
say
You
that
know,
again.
sometimes you need medicine, it's
Yeah.
just, but you need to also pay, like you said, pay attention to your behaviors, what you're putting in your body, what you're doing with your body, and
Hmm.
how you're treating your mind.
Absolutely.
Because they're all connected, and a lot of times people don't realize that it is.
Hmm. Yeah, sometimes.
Yes, indeed. Wow. So again, how do people connect?
Yeah. Follow us on social media at Bear Health. That's BEHR Health. Follow me at Kwame Terra, KWAMETERRA. Again, social media. We're most active on Instagram, getting a bit more active on TikTok and LinkedIn and Facebook. But yeah, you'll hear about us eventually for sure.
Okay, I was reading your bio and I hear you have a challenge coming up.
Yeah, we do. So since I did the 2 million steps in April, and broke the International Book of Records for the most steps in 30 days, a lot of people were asking me what's next. And I wasn't thinking about what's next at all because I just done 2 million steps in 30 days, and I was just like, I don't know, just nothing. Actually, I don't want to do it for a while. But I recognize that like it was a very inspiring moment for people, and my objective was to raise awareness for the company and get people excited about it, but I didn't necessarily expect people to be inspired, which I really appreciate, or and really like the fact that people were inspired by it, because inspiration is really the root of longevity. Like the desire to live is the root of longevity. And if something that I do or something that I become inspires other people to want to become more for their own lives, then that's honestly the only work that needs to be done. That's the feedback loop that we need to create as a society. Um, anyway, I started thinking about another challenge, and we're gonna actually do it in next April. we're going to attempt to break the world record for the most people participating in a virtual run/walk event across multiple venues. So the current world record is 773,000 people participating in a virtual charity walk, and we're going for 1 million next year. So next
Oh,
April, and over the next several months, the next several months, we're going to be campaigning for that. And our secondary goal is really connected to the official launch of the Bear Health app. So again, we've been on our beta app for the past 18 months, and now we're migrating to our official app on October 7th. And the campaign is Bear Health to the Moon, since it's our official launch. And so if we don't reach the 1 million mark, our goal is to cover enough ground as a community to reach the moon, which will be about 239,000 miles. And so hopefully we have enough people on the app by April of next year to reach the moon as a community.
absolutely. Well, I'm definitely going to get the app because I'm definitely on that move mode. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's exciting. And I'm one of those people that like community, you know,
Hmm.
because I like people and learning different people's, just being around people excites me. This
Yeah,
period.
absolutely.
So yes, I'm looking forward to that. So again, how can people get the app and how can people keep follow you to keep track of everything that you're doing?
Yep. Again, follow me on social media. Follow the company at Bear Health, BEHR Health, and then follow me at Kwame Terra, KWAMETERRA. There are links to download the app on the link trees there. But if you go straight to the App Store, you can download the Dacadoo app, DACADOO, and use access code Just Minding My Business to create your account. And see you in the challenges.
All righty. Well, I really appreciate you stopping by to share this initiative because it is definitely important, to say the least, because our people definitely need to get to moving and be more health conscientious, for longevity and really being happy, because you can't be happy sick, and you're definitely not happy overweight.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you might project that to the world, but when it's me, myself, and I, it may be a whole different situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I thank you for, you know, doing your part in making life
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
And definitely, we definitely need to have you back again, especially when these challenges start kicking
Mm-hmm.
off, so we can get more momentum around it.
Yeah, no doubt.
So thank you so much, and let's do this again.
Sounds good.